Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the highly motivated Sunday smoke sesh, because that's what this is. I don't want you to have any expectations. I don't want you to feel as though tonight we're going to talk about very deep things. We may not. We may not even get to it. We may just have a couple of laughs and smoke a joint. So I rolled two, actually. I'm just going to quickly show it. I rolled one with the clear paper right here. So this is the clear vegetable paper. And tonight we're going to be smoking. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Tonight we're going to be smoking Old Car Smell. And I'm going to mention it again later on in the show in case anybody's, entering the show a little bit late. But no, so I rolled two. I rolled one with the see-through paper, and I rolled one with the, I put two of the raw black papers together. So I took two of the raw black papers, put those together, rolled a nice 2-gram fatty, and then I used the vegetable papers to roll a second one. So tonight, we've got two 1.5-gram beautiful joints that we're going to smoke together on the Sunday Smoke Sesh. Jason, thank you for joining us tonight on the Insta Cha-Cha. Oh, it's Sunday. That means tonight we're coming to you via the Instagram, the YouTube, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, the Twitch. I'm sure I forgot some shit, but it's okay. And if you're just now joining us, Jason, thank you for joining. Want to let you know that this is a smoke sesh. This is no expectations, no actual conversation, no actual topic, actual conversation, but maybe not an actual topic tonight. I was so worried coming into the evening. What am I going to talk about tonight? And only because there's so much going on, only because there is so much excitement, so much chaos, so much happening all throughout the world, that it's very difficult just to pinpoint and talk about one thing. So welcome everybody to the show. Welcome to the Smoke Sesh. Howdy there. And again, you can catch us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitch. Tonight, I'm smoking the Old Car Smell. Old Car Smell from Goldflower Cannabis. And by the way, if you're in Florida, you may want to go pick up some weed like right now or tomorrow morning, because we've got another hurricane hitting us. How ridiculous is this? We just got rid of one. And I was watching just a couple of days ago. They said that the depression that was forming in the Gulf had a 0 chance of becoming a hurricane. And then I heard this morning and yesterday that now I don't know what Hurricane Kirk, I don't know, Captain Kirk, but it's got the possibility of hitting Florida directly on Tampa and St. Pete, like a direct hit, and then it's going to come right across to where I live. But it's looking at like a category 3. Now, the weather people just the other day said, there's no chance of this thing hitting you. No chance of this becoming a hurricane. What school do these people go to? What kind of job is this where you're allowed to be wrong constantly? Well, it's a weather model. Then pick one. So, and I do want to also mention, this whole weekend we've been hit by CMEs. That's coronal mass ejections from the sun. So this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday smoke sesh, we've been getting hit by a level 9 CME. And imagine what that's doing to the psyche, to the physical body, to the mental body. I've had headaches all weekend, and normally I don't get so many headaches. Not like this, but I've had headaches straight from Thursday to today. And I attribute that to those coronal mass ejections. I think Wednesday, Thursday, we had a level 7. And right after that, like a day after it, a level 9 erupted. Normally, these things are erupting from the sun all the time. And it's a rare occasion that the CME would be pointing towards the earth. These two did. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we've had, oh, thank you. Thank you for joining, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed that we've had radio burst intermissions. Internets have been down. The internet. I don't know. Is there more than one internet? The internets. I mean, there's a dark web, but don't go there. Don't do that. So, old car smell. And by the way, I just want to mention this one is sitting at like 31%, 31.2% on the THC. That's very high. That's probably one of the highest things that I would smoke on a regular basis. And I do want to mention that for me, I smoke a lot, obviously. But because I smoke a lot, high THC doesn't have the same effect on me. High THC it's nice, but high THC is the glue that glues everything to your body. It glues the CBD to your system, to your cannabinoids. So CBD can work on a longer basis. Because if you don't use any THC, then CBD is going to be washed right out of your body within 2 to 4 hours. So no matter how much CBD you take, you're washing it out in your stool, in your pee, in your poop, whatever you want to call it, in your sweat within 2 to 4 hours. So it doesn't bond to the body. But with a little bit of THC, just a tiny bit, it's enough to bond CBD to your body for longer periods of time. So anyways, tonight, and the way I talk about high THC and how it actually works. So say I have a joint, okay? And I lit up the joint and I took a hit. And then I put it down and I walked away from it. Well, that high THC is going to make me feel a bit of an entourage. And because the THC on this one is sitting at 31%, 31 and a half almost, that's a high THC. But because of that, I might feel a little bit of an entourage, and I might feel off the one hit, not yet though, but off the one hit, maybe if I was a lightweight. But I might feel that entourage, and I might feel it for a little while. And then as it dissipates, I'll go re-smoke that joint. But it's the same thing if I don't put the joint down. So I'm just reinvigorating that THC. So if you have a product that's at 20% THC, it can be just as potent as something that's 31%. It just depends on how you smoke it. It depends on how you use it. But I'm not taking one hit. So I enjoy ratio flower more than high THC normally. I like a nice 1-to-1, like a Mandarin cookies, like a 3-to-1, or an AC/DC, which is a beautiful 50-50. That is such a, and then there's one that Troy was growing. I don't know how far they got with it, but the smell was insane. What a gorgeous aroma. Probably one of the best aromas I have ever smelled. And that was Doctor Who. And it's a 3-to-1 cannabis strain. 3-to-1. The ratios do more for me in my balance, in my entourage, because it's not such high THC. And because it's giving more of a combination to CBD and CBCs and your CBGAs. I don't know why this keeps going out. I felt like I rolled it pretty well. This was actually a hand roll. I took 2 papers and I licked them together. And so I do feel that's a little tight right here and a lot looser right over here. So I'm just going to roll it between my fingers. Look at this. Do you see that? If I feel something is just a little too tight, all right, roll it between your fingers. That way you're creating a little bit more of an airflow, because maybe that's why mine won't stay lit right now, because it doesn't have a good airflow past this really tight spot. Okay, I think that seems a little bit better. Very smooth. Very, very smooth. So as I was saying, high THC doesn't quite have the same kick that I'm always looking for. So I do like ratio strains. I do like to use more CBD in combination. Let me see. That's what I do with pre-rolls as needed. You give them a little bit of a roll. That's right. You roll. Now, by the way, if you're curious, I'm also reading comments on the Insta on my phone. And then over here on the computer, I've got the LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, I can't see your comments. I apologize. So I will go back and I will read those comments later and I will respond to those later on. But again, thank you everybody for joining on today's Smoke Sesh. I'm so happy that we can all get together and have a little smoky tokey. Mm, that is nice. That is so gassy. Old car smell is, and the terps on this, by the way, are like 1.9. 1.9 is huge. I've seen a lot of the terpene profiles right now through the roof. I mean, even one of the strains Goldflower had was called Goofies, and it was part of their Pine Park collaboration. So part of the Pine Park collaboration, Goofies, it was like I mean, the terps were four point something percent. I want to say it was 4.8. I've never seen terpene profiles that high on any cannabis. And so when I smoked it, it had great aroma, great bag smell, great, like when you open the bag, that initial aroma, that initial terp that hits you. Wow. Overwhelming, overpowering, just insane. But when you smoke it, because it was such a deep flavored thing, it was so much hitting me at one time. It was a great high, a great, beautiful hybrid leaning sativa that I did feel a little goofy with. I felt more talkative. I felt more funny. But flavor wise, it kind of lost it once I was smoking it. Now, old car smell, this is stinky. I'm a little bit congested right now because I've been dealing with I've been helping to renovate out I have a 1952 Spartan. It's it's huge. It looks like a tank and an RV had a baby. And that's what it is. It's a tank and an RV having a baby. It's beautiful. It's like an Airstream, but older looking with a teardrop back. Anyways, I'm congested because I'm getting all the crap out of there. And plus this weather, these allergies is crazy. So I'm a little, and even with all that congestion, I can still smell this so powerful. It's like a cheese. It's like a stinky, gassy, woo. This is a nice cheese. And I'm really enjoying this. So again, smoking some old car smell. If you're here in Florida and you get the opportunity, go to Goldflower. Check them out. Tell them I sent you. No. But in that, you've got to be able to find a place that you like. And when I look at cannabis, I look at all the things I want. I want organic. I want it to be hand trimmed. I want living soil. So if I find a dispensary that does all those things for me, there you go. And that's Goldflower. That's the beautiful thing. So tonight, this is what we're smoking, and what we're talking about is absolutely nothing. We're talking about the energy from this past weekend. So I mentioned on Friday's show, and of course I let it go out again. What am I doing? I mentioned on Friday's show that the energy this weekend was going to be wild. The energy this weekend was going to be absolutely crazy. And I'll tell you why. Because of those CMEs, those coronal mass ejections. Went to and be told Flonase is the best it out. Is it? Really? Goldflower is quality. That is rocking. Flonase. I may have to go check out. I don't know. I'm funny. I think I've tried Flonase once. I put it up my nose, and all I did was taste chemicals all day. I want to stay more natural. And I'm thinking maybe if I'm going to be doing any clearing of my lungs and clearing of my nasal passages, I should be doing Mulin. Mulin? Mulin. Mulin. Mulin or Mulin? Honestly, I can't tell. I can't tell. It's Mulin or Mulin, it doesn't matter. But either way, it's a natural way to clear out your lungs, clear out your nasal passages. I might even do like, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I'm going to smoke a little bit more, and that should solve it. Plus, when I get out of this room, so the studio that I'm in right now is a very big closet. That's it. It's a closet with a growing area in front of me that's saving plants. So all the plants that weren't making it outside or that got damaged during the last hurricane, Helene, they brought them all in. We've got a pepper plant over here with some really beautiful peppers. But I'm sharing this room with plants and storage. So I guess because of the dust and the crap in here, I'm feeling a little more congested as well. Yeah, see, so I'm reading smoke more is the answer. Thank you very much. You're absolutely right. And I think the more I smoke, the more it's going to start clearing me out. So this weekend, I just want to tell you a little bit about my authentic life and the shit that happens to me. Just to give you a little Today, no, I can't tell you. I can't tell you because my actual life is very crazy. I try to downplay my actual life on the show because I like to stay professional. I like to stay professional. I'm smoking a joint on a live podcast, restreaming to all these different places. I like to stay professional. So, okay. The last time we talked, I told you how I had gotten into a little argument with one of the referees on the soccer field where I coach my daughter's soccer team. So, so that was Thursday's game. But then we had a game on Saturday, and again, a little scuffle, a little kerfuffle with the referee. He told me the rules. Now, when you're in U8, U8 is a younger soccer, very young, like 6 years old, 5, 6 years old, 7 years old maximum. And so they have very strange rules for soccer. No goalie. This makes no sense to me. And it does and it doesn't because the kids are kicking the ball. Maybe somebody's trying to grab the ball, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. So no goalie. And there's a line, a box around the goal, and you can't cross it. So I know the rules. I've read the rules. They've sent them to me like 1,000 times. But in each division, they change the rules. Like in U10, which would be the next jump up, there's a goalie. In U10, in the next jump up, there's no rule about this silly little box. So they can't cross the box. But if the ball is on the line and the player kicks it, but doesn't cross the line, it's for us. Long story short, that was the original problem. That was the original argument on Thursday. Then Saturday, I had a player that did not want to play. And so I'm pretty loud. And when I repeat things, they are sometimes in shock and sometimes loud. So he was on the field and this individual player wouldn't play. So I'm like, all right, go bench. We'll switch you out. And then there was an opportunity where I had to switch him back in because I didn't have enough players. Didn't have. So I was like, please, I need you. And he's like, I'm not going to play anyways. And so I repeated what he said, but very, very loudly. And then the ref comes behind me, goes, you can't talk like that to your players. I'm like, I didn't talk like that. I just repeated what he said. He goes, no, you're talking like that. And that's what I say. This referee, keep in mind, is a young kid. A young kid. So I can't get angry. I can't. But instead, I had to take a deep breath and explain to the child that I'm repeating what I had just heard. Hey, Raven, how are you? And by the way, we'll talk about it again in a second. My brain's all over the place. Anyways, long story short, had a verbal disagreement kerfuffle. And then it came back where the parents defended me and the guy facilitating all this came in and they defend me. And it took so long. It took so much away from the kids gaming. We still lost. I mean, we were losing. We were in the process of losing. But here's what I was excited about. All of that aside, and I let it go. Look, I want to explain to you. I let things go so quickly. Maybe I should think about them a little bit more. I understand. But I let it go. And because I let it go, because I didn't want to hurt the kids, I don't want the kids to have to wait so long to play. The second half of play, they were amazing. They pulled it together. I'm not going to tell you about the other chaos and things that were going on during that game. And my player quit, and I was very upset. But I don't think it was him quitting. I think really it was the parent that pushed him to go that direction because this specific parent just does not like coming out on the weekends. So they're going to put that kind of stress on a child, and that's terrible. That aside, leave it alone, let it be. The kids did amazing. And they pulled it out of nowhere. They got like 3 goals. They were passing to each other. They were working together. That's it. That's a win. That's a win. You don't need to win a game. They came together as a team. They came together as a little mini community to kick some ass. Wow. That was everything a coach could ever want. A real coach, a good coach. We'll win eventually. Whatever. I won that day with my kids playing amazing. Not in the beginning. Okay, in the beginning of the match, they played like shit. I'm sorry. They played really, really, really bad. But that's life. You have off days, you have on days, you have good days, you have bad days. Look, whatever. Who gives a shit? They did okay. They had to get into their own skin. And the ref is a trophy child generation. Yes, they are. And having to explain to this child that I'm just repeating what the kid said. And there, thank God there was another parent like right there that heard me repeating this kid. And the parent was like, ref, he just repeated him. And you just walked up behind him. And then another ref came into it. It was wild. But my kids did well. So we were going to be beat 7-0, but instead it was like 7-3, or us 3-7, however you need to phrase it. How awesome was that? How awesome is that? To me, that is a second half win. We didn't let them score anymore. We, second half, yeah, they were beating us 7-0 at halftime. But even being beat at that kind of a score, that didn't stop them. And I told them, you win, you lose, I don't care. Let's get out there, have some fun. Enjoy yourself. But pass the ball to each other. And I don't care how many goals you make. I just want you to try. And even if you're kicking it close, you kicked it close, and that's like a goal to me. But they did awesome. And I enjoyed it, and I loved it. And that's, I think, what sports and community of that should be more about that great energy. More about successful kids. Kids feeling good about their sports, not feeling like they have to be there, not feeling like they're being made to go, but instead they get excited about it. They feel useful. They feel a part of it. And it's not about the win. It's about the friendship. I mean, when I was a kid in Chicago growing up in the cul-de-sac, they used to play baseball. I sucked. I was terrible. But everybody would get a glove, and all the kids would be out in the outfield, and or in the back section of the cul-de-sac. And the one kid, can't remember his name, it was like Ricky or Robert or something like that. He would stand at the end of the street and just knock balls. And luckily, these balls didn't hit, I think, once or twice. Once, it went past the fence where they had this little schnauzer-looking dog, just a little itsy-bitsy dog. And so he was like, Oren, go get the ball. Go get the ball. And I'm like, over there? He goes, go get the ball. What are you, afraid? I'm like, yes, I'm definitely afraid of that dog. Because every day I had to walk home from the bus stop where I got dropped off at my buddy's house. I'd walk across, and I'd have to cross that yard. And every day that dog would he wouldn't always bark. He'd bark sometimes. Like he'd scare the shit out of me bark. Like he'd be hiding behind a tree by the fence on the other side and be like, rah, rah. Like, all right, that's it. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. I see you though. And sometimes he wouldn't bark. He'd just stand and stare at me. And like a little bit of drool would come out of the dog's mouth. Little dog. But I was a kid. So to me, it wasn't a little dog. It was like a medium-sized asshole. So anyways, I went to go get the ball. And so I ran over that way, grabbed the ball from the side of the fence, and the dog was right there. And I was like, all right, hey, fence is closed. It wasn't closed. The fence was open. And so as I'm running back, the dog stops at the fence, looks at me, and then keeps running at me, runs and jumps to my calf of my leg, my right leg, and clamps down on it. Little dog has been waiting to chomp down on me. That's it. So it was stuck on my leg. It wouldn't come off the whole time. Now I can laugh about it. Then I wasn't laughing. I came out screaming. I was yelling. I was like, ah! I mean, I'm gonna spare you the yelling right now and just give you that impression silently. Okay. Don't give a shit. So anyways, the kid that was knocking all those balls through the cul-de-sac comes running over. He's like, what's going on? And then they stop. Everybody stops and starts laughing. They see this little dog attached onto my leg while I'm crying and screaming, and everybody stood around me and laughed. You see, I have a lot of PTSD to deal with. Now I can laugh. Now I can look back on those days and go, I probably would have been laughing as well. If I was there, I probably would have been laughing. I mean, yeah, it made me stronger. Yeah, I was embarrassed. But who gives a shit? You get over it. And especially since you were playing with these people the next day, especially since it wasn't like I'm going to stop playing with the kids in the cul-de-sac. So they laughed at me. Who gives a shit? There was many times I laughed at them. I remember the next door neighbor, he put like a green dye in his during St. Patty's Day. And then everything got like they prank his kids and they were all green. And it wouldn't come off for like a long time. It was crazy. But that's what people used to do back then. And yes, that was dangerous. He like pumped it into the water supply system, but specifically for the bathroom. Mm. You know, it's not about the win. Look, I'm not all right. A little bit about me. I'm not into sports. I don't know what sport is ever being played ever. Like they'll be like, it's basketball season. I'm like, really? Okay, I had no clue. My dad will call me, son, it's bloody football season. I can't talk right now. What? I didn't know seasonally it was played. I thought they just play it like all the time. They just don't stop. That's what it feels like. It feels like it's always going on. Baseball? That's like watching golf. That's but at the same time, hey, the Bud Babe came to join. How you doing today? But that's the thing. Watching golf is like watching baseball for me. I know some people really love it, and I apologize. I just never got into sports. But hey, Doctor Who, some Stargate Atlantis, maybe bring out the whole series of The Matrix. Um, there's a lot of. I mean, I like a lot of shows. I'm into a lot of like Warriors right now on Netflix, and then there was what was it? It's the new one with Jeff Goldblum. I talked about it the other day. I love it. I think Jeff Goldblum is doing a great job in this role. And I heard they may not do a second season, and they're crazy if they don't do a second season. Because this is you could feel the magic in their acting. That's a wild thing when you can say I can feel the magic in their acting. And that's what movies used to be. The reason they say like movies aren't the same, they made movies differently back then. No, it was a fucking magic that people had. Let's talk about that for a moment. Fuck yeah. Mm. So back in the day, like take The Breakfast Club, take any one of the Friday the 13th movies before they rebooted it. Take The Never Ending Story. Take Taxi Cab, with Robert De Niro. You could name any one of these movies back in the day. Look, I'm even going to say Kid and Play, House Party. They don't make shitty movies like that anymore. I mean, it's a different level of shitty now. There was a different magic in the movies years ago. Star Wars. Look, they've tried remaking it so many times and adding so many characters, but you're missing the original magic. When actors are good, they're good. Like you can see when they're calling it in. Like Adam Sandler. It feels like he's called in every movie he's had, and if you know what I mean by saying calling it in, not trying very hard, not giving it their all, not really bringing out that old school magic. What is on my wall? Oh, it's just a reflection. Not bringing out that old, it's on my screen. Look at that. I am high. I'm like, I am high. If I am seeing shit on my screen, it's not there. I thought it was on the wall. But like Adam Sandler, he's a funny guy, but he's not the funny he used to be. Like Jim Carrey, he's not the funny that he used to be. There used to be a magic that these guys put out that was wild. It was unbridled. It was unplanned. And even movies. Look, you look at, okay, here's a great example that I think in its remake, and they tried so hard, but I don't know why they missed that magic. The History of the World with Mel Brooks. Yes, now it's harder to do some of those jokes, and they're not as socially acceptable. But The History of the World, Part one of the funniest things ever made. Ever. Look, The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride. What an amazing movie. Amazing, I'm telling you. There was also another series of movies that used to show great magic. I'm going to do it, Burt Reynolds. Anything Burt Reynolds, I fucking love him. The guy was amazing. He was, There was a magic that he exuded. Even though he was good, he was bad. He was a little bit of everything. That's what made him amazing because he was authentic. He never hid who he was in his kind of country humor. It was Smokey and the Bandit. There, I said it. Fucking movie genius. Look, okay, I know. I'm being silly. There are movies that look, we can list off movies all night to show the difference of how things have changed. We we don't value movies in the same way because it used to be our only form of entertainment. Or of course television, but big productions with actors and this and that. It was movies. Now movies are so easily attainable, so readily available in your Netflix, your YouTube, your Hulu, your Prime. That's a lot. That's a lot of, and that's not even scratching the the surface of so many other, so many other things. So what is it? How did we lose the magic? Anybody know? Where did it go? That's it. That's my why. I want to know why. Why we changed in the movies? Why we changed? Is it because we're too political? Is it because we are too sensitive? Is it because we're afraid to say the wrong thing? I don't think so because I've seen some movies and they're terrible. And they terribly say all the wrong things just to get attention. Doesn't want to stay lit. Towards the end, now it isn't much more, it's much more resinous. So it's very, very sticky inside. And that could be why it's putting itself out very quickly because this was a very long joint. You know what I'm going to do? To be fair, to be fair, to be fair, to be fair, I'm going to put it down. You see? So I've smoked more than half of it. I'm going to put it down and I'm going to just go ahead and light up the vegetable wrap. Same weed, old car smell, 31%, almost 2% on the terpene profile. Look, that paper was the raw, and I can taste the paper. You can't taste the paper, but I can taste that there's something beyond the weed influencing my flavor. And let me just drink something here really quickly. So I can tell from the paper, and I can taste when there's a separate influence besides the cannabis. And that being said, when I smoke the vegetable papers, okay, I don't taste them, but I only taste the cannabis. So I'm going to light this up, and I'm going to continue talking about just whatever. Maybe we talk more about the coronal mass ejections, all that energy hitting the earth. Did you feel different this weekend? Did you have headaches this weekend? I know I did. From Thursday to today, I've been having pretty much a straight headache, occasionally hitting almost a migraine. And so then I'm having to do a very heavy regimen of different strains of cannabis to reduce that headache. Oh, this joint didn't work. Shit, we're just going to have to go ahead and smoke another one. So the energy this weekend, though, has been wild. And earlier, I even mentioned how coaching this past weekend even had a bit of a kerfuffle with a misunderstanding from the referee, where actually nothing was wrong other than that, and we had a player that just didn't feel like playing, and that happens. And sometimes the parents are forcing the kids more into playing than what the kids want to do. That's natural. That's natural. It was when I was a kid, my dad was like, "You're playing soccer and you're going to play amazing." I'm like, I am. I swear I'm going to play so good. And I was really there was an amazing goal I remember making. I was standing, I think like almost like a little past center line. And I was like the second guard to the goalie. So I was guarding center field or back center, and the ball just kind of rolled to me. And I looked down and I was like, oh, the ball is there. Okay. And I look up and all of a sudden I see all these kids running at me. I'm like, so I just kicked it, and I kicked it as hard as I can kick it, and the ball went straight, and it went solid, and it started rolling up. And the goalie was not paying attention. He was talking to like a girl or somebody. He was like hanging on the side of the post, and he wasn't even looking. And my dad is over here on the side. And he just started paying attention because I was always a really bad player. I was terrible. As kid soccer, I was really bad. I got better, much better in life. Later in life, I got really good. Really good. But back then, terrible. So, and I kicked the ball, and it's like it had to be from like the other side. And all the kids that were running at it, it just passed right by them, and they were just like confused that they let it go by them. So everybody's turning around and falling on themselves. It was an amazing visual moment for me to kind of relive on and rethink about, because amazing. So, and then the ball slowed down. Like it was slowing down, going towards the goal. It's going really, really, really slow. And it inched right into the goal. And everybody erupted. Everybody lost it. It was like the most amazing moment in kids soccer, hands down. Yeah. Yeah. If I had a mic there, I would drop it. So I think it's the proudest my father has ever been of me. You know, I had children. No. He got this goal, this one. He talks about it every time. No, there's this one time, my son, bloody oblivious, I'm going to tell it to you how he tells it, bloody oblivious, I mean, looking at the bloody sky, watching the bloody butterflies, I mean, I think he was picking flowers from the ground like 2 moments ago, and then the ball miraculously rolls right to him. He looks down, he looks around like he's bloody confused that he's never bloody seen a soccer ball in his entire life. Looks down at it and he's like, oh, it's my ball. And I don't think he bloody thought. I don't think there was a bloody brain cell popping in his bloody brain. No. He turned around and he kicked the ball with such force. I've never seen the boy kick anything like that. I mean, it was just amazing. And the ball just flew right past the oncoming horde of warriors. And they fell in bloody disbelief. They fell to the bloody ground in disbelief how powerful this ball had traveled past them. And then as it landed, I don't ever remember the ball leaving the ground, to be honest. He may have seen this differently. But as the ball traveled past them, and then it landed on the ground with a soft thud, so soft that the goalie was even shocked that the ball had gotten back there so quickly that he had to end his bloody conversation, turns around, and the ball was already in the goal. It was bloody amazing, bloody wondrous. I dream about it all the time. So that would be the way my dad would describe this miraculous kid goal that I did. This was, again, I don't even know how old I am anymore. This had to be like 42, 3, 4 years ago. Wow. That's a long time ago, yo. Oh my God. Starting to feel kind of, I don't want to use the word old anymore. I think that's a silly word. I think it's just a silly word. I don't know why we do things like that. No, I think this year, this is actually a big birthday year for me. I turn the 50, and I don't believe it. I'm like shocked. I'm not even like regular shocked. I'm like, I don't know where the hell it came from. I don't know where the hell it went. Like the first 25 years, I'm pretty sure I know where those went. And I can't remember any of those. But the second 25 have been amazing. And, you know, that's funny. I don't even know what the hell I was talking about now. Earlier, we were talking about magic. And, oh yeah, I was talking about my life earlier where I'm not into sports. I like sci-fi. So that's it. There you go. And I like horror movies. So I'm turning old, and we know about that. So there you go. We see El Maestro 420. How you doing? Welcome to the show. So tonight, again, I just wanted to remind everybody that we're on the Insta Cha-Cha. We're on the Facey Bookie, the YouTuber, the Linky Winkies, and your Twitchy Witchies. And boom, that's what we are. And we're doing all that tonight so that, oh, an Exotic Alchemy's here. Hello to you as well. Welcome to the show. We're streaming multiple places so that we can have a smoke sesh with everybody. And that's what this is. We're having a smoke sesh with everybody. So even if you don't smoke, that's okay. You don't have to. It is good Sunday, bud. This one is my little doink-a-doink from Goldflower. Goldflower Cannabis here in Florida, in case you're here in Florida. And this one is Old Car Smell. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. Old Car Smell, 31%. The terps are like 1.9. It's amazing. The aroma is stinky and cheesy and just, woo! I mean, stinky and cheesy and gassy. And I'm congested and I can smell it. The regular, I mean, I bet it tastes good. I bet this even tastes like really good weed. So, anyways, we're coming to you from multiple places. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are. And that's what's exciting. That's what we're doing. We're just hanging out. And I've been talking about the energy of this weekend, the energy of things going on around us. Definitely tastier in this paper than this one. So remember, we already smoked this one earlier on the show. And now it's time, same strain, just different paper. And immediately I can tell you that it seems cleaner. I say that and then I cough. But I think that was being built up. No, that's nice. That's a really good smoke. And this is a good, it's an indica. Old Car Smell is an indica. But I feel it kind of churning up here. I feel it right here a little bit. I had a headache earlier. I think because of the energy. I'm going to blame the energy from the sun. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to blame the sun. But no, my energy's been weird. I don't even know what today is now. Today's Sunday. What did I do today? What happened today? Oh my God. Didn't even tell you. So I was telling you how crazy the whole weekend was, and you're thinking what I just told you. Saturday with the game was as crazy as it gets, right? Okay. My son, one of my twins, both my twins work at, so I don't know how much I should say because it was a really crazy situation that just, that turned into one thing into another. It's emotional. It's disappointing how corporations don't pay attention. It's disappointing how corporations forget the individual and forget that we are giving them their time, our time. We are giving them our time, not just for a paycheck, but we are giving you a part of our life. Our safety is number one. So I'm talking about my children, and I didn't mention where they work yet. It's a major corporation that sells donuts. And yeah, they're like the big one. I even though you have a franchise, safety standards should be the same everywhere you go. Even though you may have a franchise, you should not lose sight of what's going on. You should never lose sight. If you have one store or you have 10 stores, they should all be paid attention to on a daily basis. Your people are your number one. Number one. And if you are abusing your people, if you're not taking care of your people, they can choose to work somewhere else. But they are choosing to give you their time. So you should take care of that time. You should value that time and value that individual. I feel emotional when it comes to my children. I'm able to let a lot of things go. But when things are happening to them because of a corporation or because of malicious, how do I describe it? How do I do it? I don't even know how to say it anymore. I think because they're just not paying attention to people, letting people take control where they shouldn't take control, letting people be in charge without really vetting them and looking at the attitude, not just looking for leadership. So many people look for leadership, but let me tell you about leadership. Leadership is not giving orders. Leadership is not telling people what to do. It's understanding them when they need a day off. It's pulling those hours when nobody else is there. Well, you do it. You pull the hours. That's leadership. Leadership isn't go do this and go do this for me, and you do it like this and you do it like that. And it's not attitude. It's it's not anger and frustration that they have for everything else in the world, and they're going to take it out on you. That's not leadership. Leadership should be caring and understanding, a shoulder that the employee can come to and lean on when they need to. I think we need to reimagine what leadership is. We need to imagine how we look at what we look for in leadership. When I look for a leader, I look for enthusiasm in life. I look for kindness. A leader is kind. A leader is understanding. A leader is strong, though. You stand up for the people you're protecting. You stand up for everyone, and yourself you stand up for also. So one of my kids, he doesn't stand up for himself, and he had a hard fall at work. Hard fall because the lack of safety protocols, as in, you know, um, non-slip mats. I used to be a bartender many, many, many moons ago. This is so far long ago, I can't even remember. And it should, I mean, if you're working where there's slip and ice and drinks, there should be mats. So I'm not going to get into the details, and I probably will, because I say I'm not going to get into the details, but it upset me. Now, are they making right for it now? After the chaotic day that I went through today, and it's hard. You can't let everything go. I talk about letting it go, taking it off and putting it on an imaginary table. And I have done that many times today regarding this, many times. And so, no, he was actually injured quite badly. Uh, really hit his knee. I think his knee. So, anyways, he fell, and his knee took the brunt of the fall, and it's collecting liquid underneath. It's poofing up. Yes, I've already taken. So today, went to go take him to the emergency room. We get there and we said, well, it's workman's comp, because he was sent here by work. And so they didn't give him what was required, or the person didn't give, because the person also told him, come in the next day. And he's like, I can't even walk. They're like, walk it off, you'll be fine. This was not a walk it off situation. So it was the unkindness that already tipped me to knowing that this person was not a leader. Oh yeah, and it can be persistent and forever. So immediately this morning, his knee was inflamed. So I got him into the truck and I took him down to the emergency care, not emergency room. We don't really have those out here. We're in North Florida. We don't get shit. We get emergency care places. So I got him inside me, and they're like, all right, do you have this number or this code? And we're like, no. What are you talking about? They're like, well, his work should have given it to him. So he goes, well, we're going to call them right now. So he calls them, and I got my son in the waiting room, laid up. And so they called and turned around. The lady at the office, his manager, denied it. Says, no, 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 no. We're not going to do it. We're not going to file it because I don't feel it's bad. And I'm like, is this what she told you? And he's like, yeah. And then she started saying, well, he wasn't even wearing non-slip shoes. He had non-slip shoes on. And everything is on video. Everything. So what hurt me is that this child of mine works there for shitty pay. Shitty pay. He comes in on his days off because they need him. He works doubles because this manager has been so bad to so many people, they can't hold on to employees. He works the doubles, even though she is shitty to him every day. Every single day. I'm gonna vent a little bit. I'm done. I'm done holding this one in. I said I would. And Angie was like, maybe you should hold this one in. No, no. Some people need to be brought out. And it's not justice, it's understanding. It hurts me. That's why I'm aggressively enthusiastic. Mm. So he's a hardworking boy, and he works even when others don't. The child hurts himself. I know he's not a child anymore. I mean, he's growing. No matter how old they're going to be, they're always my kids. They're always my children. But he fell, he hurt himself, and they deny him. So I jumped in and got into the hospital. Hospital said, she's making all these false claims. I can see your son is hurt, and he's wearing this non-slip shoes right now. He still has his non-slip shoes on. So the doctor was like, I see the shoes. I mean, and then, so a lot of things were said that weren't true. So that hurt me. So immediately, since they weren't taking us at the hospital, we got everybody back in the truck, and I drove over to this establishment, and I asked for the manager to come out and speak with me and explain to me why you are denying my child, why you're making these false claims that he doesn't have non-slip shoes. Why would you be putting up any kind of adverse? Why would you put any wall up between him getting healed? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. So that was how I started. And then, the person never came out. And so my other son was working. So I asked him, would you mind going back to get this manager? Please. And so, because I hadn't got this talk to her. I mean, she wouldn't come out. I asked him, I go, do you mind? He goes, yeah, she'll be out in a moment. Never came out. So he went back there to go get her. And as soon as he opened her door, she started yelling and screaming and cursing him. Wow. Cursing him because a customer or an individual, a concerned parent, is asking her to come out and answer for what she is doing. She cursed my son, the other one that was working there. So I have twins, and two of them are working at this place that I haven't even mentioned yet. She cursed him, and she yelled at him while other customers were listening. She yelled at him. What that does to a person that works hard. He's also an incredibly hardworking child that's getting paid shit wages. And you know why the two of them are there? Because they have friends that are there, and they like the customers that come in, and they enjoy making the drinks. I'm like, well, how about this? Go, yeah, it's hard because she messes up our hours. She steals our tips. What kind of a manager is that? What kind of a manager are you to put somebody like that in a position to break people down? You should be paying more attention to them. Oh, wow. So anyways, long story short, my son went back there to come bring out the manager. She refused to come out, instead cursed him and yelled at him enough to where he was like, I've had enough. And he took off his apron and he clocked out for the day and left and got in my truck. That's how she spoke to him. He was done. Got in my truck. So I stayed there. And I asked the other employees to go get the manager, and they tried, and they got cursed, and they got yelled at. All of this is on camera. I think it's illegal to do sound, but I wish they would. So while I waited out there for the manager to come out, she refused to come out. Just didn't come out. And my son came back in, and he's like, I don't know what's going on. Do you want me to go back there and get her out? I'm like, no, you're going to stay right here. You clocked out. You're done for the day. You can go to the truck. You can stay here, but don't get involved like that. She already spoke to you terribly. We're going to deal with this and everything all together. And just then, the cops come walking into the door. And not one cop. It was like 6. It was 6. I want to say 6, but it was like 4 cop cars out there that I can see, and lights going. I didn't even see the cop cars. All of a sudden, I just see the cops coming in like ninjas, and they're looking at me, and their hands are on their guns. This is my problem with. Now, I'm going to first mention that the police in this situation were ace. They were awesome. They communicated very well. They were calm in the situation, and they brought more of a calmness to me, even though I wasn't. You know how I am. I'm enthusiastic. So even for my enthusiastic attitude, these officers, the sheriffs, did an amazing job. So before I go too far into that, I'm not a big supporter of most people that end up going into the police department, but at the same time, I am, because it's a job that not many people want to do. So I support them, and at the same time, I'm not the craziest, but I support them. I support them. And these were very good people. And you could see they were good people, not just police officers, but they were good people. So they came into the situation and they go, look, do you mind talking outside? I'm like, I don't mind at all. Let's go. Came outside. Gentleman goes, may I have your identification? I'm not going to question why. I've got a pretty good idea why they're there. I'm like, absolutely. Here you go. Done. So he takes it. He's checking, blah, 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 blah. Excuse me. While we're there, he says, well, the manager called us on you because she feels you are a threatening customer. I'm like, she feels I'm a threat. I'm not a customer, sir. He goes, then why are you here? I'm like, well, sir, let me explain. I am a father. I am a concerned father. And I am here because my children have been mistreated at work by their manager. They've been mistreated verbally. They won't tell me if it's physical, and obviously not. They're big boys. But verbally, they've been abused. And their tips have been stolen. They've been shorted or given too many hours or not paid attention to in that regard. I mean, just so many different things. And then the icing on the cake was one of my children getting hurt. And this specific individual denying his requests for help. So again, I know my long stories are never short. My short stories are never long. They're both one and the same. So in all of that, I went above his head and I went to his general manager and I demanded answers. So we got his number for workman's comp. We got everything in there. They took x-rays, and they've temporarily wrapped it and said, we got to come back in the morning. Wow. Um, I'm not going to tell you the back and forth in so many different places and so many different lies from people that are just trying to cover so that there's I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe less trouble for them in the long run, they feel like. And maybe as time goes on, I'll give more details of what I've learned about this individual franchise or the individuals running it. I am not one to ever be angry towards an establishment like this. But when it comes to, yeah, they are trained to avoid workman's comp. You're absolutely right, Nick. Hey, welcome to the show. But by lying to the doctors, lying to the people trying to heal him and help him and see that this is, that obviously there's cover up going on. It hurt me to see to what extent they would go to placate people. And I'm not one easily placated. So they tried and they tried and it backfired because that was one of the reasons I ended up going to the location, because nothing was being done. Now something is being done. And now this specific company that they work for is making good, I hope, on what is going on. But I explained this to the cops and I let them know how I feel, honestly, calmly and honestly. That's how it went. So while this was going on, to cover herself and get me off of the property, she said she put a no trespass. So I can't go back to Duncan, which is oh, I said it. I can't go back there. and I drop my children off to work. I can't do that. I have to drop them off across the street because on the paperwork, though, it shows a concerned father asking questions, and the manager has put a no trespass on him. That is on the paperwork that is going to the courthouse. I have a copy of it. I should bring it out and show you. I love it. The cops were like, this is BS. And she's being petty, and she's doing this so that she thinks she's going to get out of trouble. What an exciting weekend. It was an adventure. So I had an adventure at the soccer field, which I let it go. No harms fouled, whatever. We're back to playing. We're back to good. Everybody's back to happy, happy, happy. I think. I hope. Whatever. That's life. That was Saturday. And then, wait, was that yesterday? Oh my God, all that craziness happened yesterday? And then I was exhausted because I got home and I was like, because the heat and everything, and I passed out. Okay, and then today was wild. I'm telling you, I think that has something to do with the energy that is coming from the sun, from the energy that is being ejected from the sun in the CMEs, the coronal mass ejections. I think now Sunday, they did say Sunday it would be more, the particles are reaching our heliosphere or atmosphere because our magnetic shielding or the shielding that shields us from the radiation that hits the earth is very thin. The shielding is very thin right now. So when the shielding is thin, we have a lot more charged particles hitting us and affecting our mood, affecting our emotions. I mean, no matter what, I would be very emotional about what happened to my children. And no matter what, I would have been just as confused at what happened Saturday as what happened Saturday. I'm still confused because all I did was repeat the kid and then this whole ensemble. But it was, but the kids did great second half and they were magic ninjas. We were talking about the magic of movies earlier, weren't we? Yeah. Yeah, we were. Oh, and I'm very excited. I want to let everybody know that very soon, Oraganji.com should be fully online. This is a very exciting moment. You can find past podcasts. You can find links, of course, to the grandest of dispensaries and free same-day delivery. You can find links to doctors. If you're looking to renew, it gives you options and different prices and different specials and different sales. So I love that. But also, this is a community site in that we're going to have community pop-up education. We're going to be listing where we're going to be. And these are going to be cannabis educational pop-ups. I am incredibly excited. We have a really cool immediate pop-up tent. And all we're going to do is talk cannabis education. I want people to come out with questions. I want the hardest of questions, the most difficult to answer. I am a lifelong user of cannabis. I have unlearned and relearned everything I know when it comes to cannabis. I unlearned everything I knew from growing. I was a great grower. Everything I knew about growing, I dropped it out of my head and relearned it. You know, everything I knew about cannabis, like THC or CBD or CBC or CBGA, I didn't know anything. So any knowledge that I was going to put into my head was truly beneficial. And this is many, many moons ago. You know, I'd say my educational cannabis journey started, excuse me, by accident. That's that was, you know, I've never really kind of met it was. And now look, I did do a lot of cancer studies because of my mother, and I was trying to save her in any way I could. But at any point, I guess we were in Texas, and they didn't allow any kind of cannabis, and I couldn't get a hold of anything that would have been beneficial for her, like a good RSO or a pure rosin tincture or a syringe of pure concentrate. So, um, but by accident, when my mom was still alive, we were in Israel and we were talking. So, in our family, we have some pretty smart people, scientist cats. One that invented the laser, not solely, but I believe a weapon or something that was more portable. Just incredible work he did. And I don't even think I was allowed to say what I just said. But this is like 30 odd years ago. And so I want to say, and this was one of my last visits over there, and we visited him, very old. And he goes, and he goes, I have people that, because I was smoking a lot of weed at that time. And it wasn't the easiest thing to get a hold of in the overseas, in the Middle East, especially. So this was an opportunity where I saw my cousin from Gadi, from Haifa. We were in Haifa, or close to Haifa. And I think we met up like right before this, right for this. And he was like, "Hey, let's go upstairs. Yeah, let's go have a beer. Yeah, fantastic." He goes, "Wait, I have something for you, Oren. Oren, wait, I have something. Come, come, come." So we go to the side. He pulls out this little matchbox, a matchbox, like, where you put matches in and shit. And I'm like, "What is this?" He goes, wait. You're going to love what don't worry, I show you." So he pops it open, and it's got a bud, or it's full of weed. And I'm like a bud, but it's all been stuffed in there. "That's weed." He's like, "Yes, this is what you wanted. You called me, and you said, make sure you get a lot of weed." Is this a lot of weed? Oren, you know how difficult this is to get in Israel? Are you crazy? In the Middle East, you don't get weed. It's very, you can get hashish. I can get you hashish. I can get you many things, but I can't get you weed. Very difficult. What you ask is like, I don't know, it's very hard. This was a long time ago, keep in mind. So he gives me the matchbox. And I was actually down there DJing for a while too. Gives me the matchbox. And I ended up getting some stuff. It was always hard to get flour. Getting weed itself, like flour, back then it was like, but hashish, you can get some good hashish. Okay. So he gave me the matchbox. And I remember this. And we were like, "Yeah, okay. How am I going to roll this?" He goes, "This is how you do. You take the cigarette, yeah? And you pinch until all the tobacco falls out. Now you have filter. Now you put in the weed. You'll be fine. Shut up." And I'm like, how difficult is it? I'm like, and I remember we're sitting out there on the porch and we rolled and we got something and we had to twist it. It was like a really tight. By the time we were done, it was like, it probably looked like this before we ever lit it. And I think we took a couple of puffs and it smelled, because nobody's smoking weed over there. And I can't remember his name, and that's Ephraim. No, Ephraim was my grandfather, great grandfather, or great. Wow, there's a lot of people. My brain just doesn't work right now. And I remember he was like, "Come, yalla, no, bo, yalla, come in." So calls everybody in, and he goes, "I have a guy. You smoke. Listen, you know about this?" I'm like, "I know, it gets me high. What do I need to know?" He goes, "Okay, now we begin. Okay, this is amazing. You don't know, I did one of my papers on this. I did a paper. I did a lecture once on how amazing this, and I know a guy who's so smart, okay? Dr. Mecholim." And I'm like, "Okay." And I didn't know who the fuck this guy is. Later finding out, the guy he was mentioning was Dr. Raphael Mecholam. Mecholim, the godfather of THC. So I ended up getting papers and things to read and study from some of his, not from him, but from some of the students, or some of the teachings and some of the books, because the man only died, I think, 2 years ago. And he was still, or a year, but my memory is now fuzzy because of the time slips. And I swear we've been going through time slips. But incredible doctor. And I've really never talked about this. Um, there was a weird, but I almost say this is a turning point. Um, Reading shit I didn't understand at the time. So looking at it, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't know what this is. He goes, okay, but listen, you'll need to do more research. You need to check it out. You need to know what is going on. This is amazing what you're doing here. What you're smoking is not just smoking. What you're doing is opening up the world. You're opening up the third eye. You are relaxing your body. You're doing things great for your muscles, for your blood. And I'm like, really? Shut the fuck up. I'm smoking a joint. He goes, Oren, listen to me. Do you know what this is? This is amazing. This is a superfood. Did you know this? Did you know that we here in Israel grow this? And they do. They grow it in mass farms in mass areas, um, but not for smoking. To turn into, they press it for oil. They turn it into food sources. It's a superfood. So we're not talking about decarboxylating it and changing it into THC or CBD. We're talking about eating it. We're talking about eating cannabis. Just incredible. And it can be used in so many different ways, like the seeds. Anyways, so I remember him sitting here telling me, Oren, what you have, what you're doing, this is great, okay, but you do it. You need to know more. So he gave me papers, he gave me this and that, and I'll have to find them, and they're amazing. But they make no sense at the time. Now I understand about the CB1 and CB2 receptors. Now I understand about the pathways and the neurons and the connections that they're making inside the body. Now I understand. This is 30 years later. Of course I understand. Now, in that, my history in cannabis, I think that's when it changed. I think those moments, and he gave me a painting, a hand drawing. He gave me a few, and I could probably find it somewhere. It used to sit on the wall, and it was wild. Actually, I even had it sitting on the wall in here. Wouldn't that be wild if I could pull it out and show that to you? And it's magical. I'm telling you, it's magical. I know you're thinking, how high are you, Oren? No, 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 no. It is one of the most magical oil drawings on something this big. It might be behind the wall. Is it? Oh, shut up. Would it be? No. Okay. Okay. I'll have to look for it. I'll have to show you in another show. So, anyways, that was a turning point for me. I wanted to know more. I wanted to learn more. So when I came back to the States, that's all it became about. I mean, I was still growing. I was still learning on the growing side of things. But back then it was, I want to know more about this. And I would have to say it's been, that's why it shocks me sometimes, maybe 30 years I have been in the dedication of cannabis. I was smoking since I was 13, but didn't know shit. Um, from 2021 on, around that time is when everything changed. And it wasn't about, I don't know, it wasn't about getting high all the time. I realized there was more to it. When I heard there was so much more, and then I read there was so much more, and I learned there was so much more, now you're sitting there going, wow. I mean, I'm high right now, but I'm no headache. And I had a headache. I could breathe in just now. I'm not as congested. My body was sore from yesterday because I'm running back and forth on the field. I'm out in the sun. Da, 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 da. I feel good. I feel balanced. I feel very energetic and very creatively talkative. So if that is high, then that is high. And that is what it is. But this many years, you understand how those entourages affect your body, what you're using it for, why you're using it for. So, long story of the short and short story of the long. I know. I'm terrible at those things. We're going to be doing pop up cannabis educational. Oh, I do want to ask Nick, if you're still there, um, did you get a chance to go to Goldflower? How was it? Mm. So, so I was talking about Oraganji.com, and we're going to go online very soon. Like I'm maybe a week away from everything being done, and it still is going to have to change and still go through different this and that. But it's a really great resource to find a lot of past shows, to be able to keep in touch, to find out about private events that we're doing, and also pop up cannabis events. And that was the big deal. So pop up cannabis educational events, just a little tent, a bunch of chairs, and a lot of questions and answers. I want to I want people to be able to take control of their medication, take control of the direction, and help shape it. help understand and shape what is going on with their health and how they can work on it using cannabis. So this evening, I released, I'm going to release it tomorrow morning on LinkedIn, but I think I did it on Facebook and InstaChacha and YouTube as well. I released a Parkinson's and cannabis video where specifically we're talking about THCV, the extended hydrocarbon, usually only found in sativas, and strains like Durban poison. That would be most specifically narrowing it down for you. And CBGA, known as the mother of all cannabinoids. Mm. So the reason this conversation about Parkinson's and cannabis is so important, it's the combination. So I always talk about the combination. Combination of cannabis is very important. It's not just THC. It's going to be the combination of many different cannabinoids together. So the talk I did today on Parkinson's and cannabis and how possibly cannabis can be there to offer new hope in treating Parkinson's disease, in slowing the degradation, in stopping the degradation. And that is using THCV and CBGA in combination. How do you do that? How did I present it on the video? And I'll be honest, I really wish I would have gone into more detail on the video. I did mention that smoking rosin, I haven't smoked this in days, by the way, but smoking rosin, I know it's like empty, but smoking rosin through a vape is the quickest way to get THCV into your system. So strains heavy in THCV, and you wonder, well, how is that helping me? That is helping with the stiff muscles. It is helping with the circulation. It is helping with energy recombobulation. I called it something else. I was much more scientific in the video, but in its combination, it's working with CBGA to regenerate these cells, to rewire pathways in the brain. CBGA and THCV together create more of a neuroplasticity for the brain, allowing it more of that wiggle room, giving it a little bit more of that. Because again, Parkinson's happens because of the lack of dopamine being created in the brain, which creates a lot of different issues in the body, which attacks the brain. And stopping that, stopping the loss of dopamine or replacing the dopamine possibly, or rewiring the brain so it doesn't require that dopamine, but it does require maybe something else, or the flow of something else. Don't know yet. I just made the correlation between these two cannabinoids. I put this together. I haven't heard this anywhere else. Just so you know, I am not pulling this from PubMed or another scientific paper. I put it out there like my own my mini video scientific presentation of why I think THCV and CBGA work together in a synergy to help cure Parkinson's. If not cure, slow down the degradation to a halt. Are there any studies to back this up? It's the combination of studies, but unfortunately there are no studies out there showing the combination of THCV directly. They were showing cannabis in different forms. So I mentioned vaping. And how do you do it? How do you do it together? What's the magic? What's the magic together? The honest magic is a live rosin gummy made of pectin. A live rosin gummy that is THCV made of pectin, and a tea made so that the CBGA, in its her acidic form, CBG, the mother of all cannabinoids, A is the acidic, and I should have said that in the video and I didn't. And I really didn't describe the V being the extended hydrocarbon of THC. But in that would be the better way of doing it. But to ease the symptoms of Parkinson's disease, a rosin vape would be the quickest. Vaping is not the greatest thing in the world, obviously, but live rosin is clean and pure, and no chemicals went into that. Live rosin, if done properly, rosin, not resin, rosin. It's clean, it's pure, it's a press, a hard press with pressure and a little bit of heat. And actually, if you're ever on LinkedIn or I think Facebook, there's a guy, Asher's Finest Rosins. He's up in Pennsylvania, I believe, and he presses cannabis, all types of cannabis, and he's got it down to a heat and a touch and a feel and a smell, and he's like a genius of pressing cannabis. Single solvent cannabis, or not solvent, solventless, single source. Didn't want to get that wrong. But it matters. So doing a single source live rosin pectin gummy, it's not gummy, it's pectin, a live rosin gummy form, but it's pectin. Pectin breaks down and dissolves into the body like a food source. Gummy gelatinous shit, it sits in your stomach and then it comes out whenever the hell it feels like it. So in that, you want to do it in the combination like this. Now, again, I have not heard this anywhere else. I've looked, I've checked, and nobody has put the combination of THCV and CBGA in their healing properties together like I kind of did. This is on my own thing. So again, if it's wrong, I'm doing it from my best understanding of cannabis and how it works for me and how it's worked for people. Have I seen it and tried it with anybody with Parkinson's? Yes. Currently, it's working. It's their own trying. I'm not responsible in any way, shape, or form. In that, I have given them, and this is what I'm going to give you. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. So, and cannabis can't hurt you. It can't hurt. You've got to be open to it and ready for it. And this individual is very much so ready for it. And has it already changed them? Yes, so much so that I wanted to do the video. So much so that I wasn't going to do the video beforehand until, you know, until it's something, until there's some sort of, I have friend proof. I don't have, but it reduced tremors. It calmed the body. It, it, where there was foggy thought or grumpy thought, there is none. No grumpiness, no, because the grumpiness came from not being able to remember certain things. That's not there. So there's a difference there. That's already huge. And the lack of pain the individual is going through because your muscles are breaking down, your body's breaking down. And it's as it's breaking down, this is stopping, maybe slowing right now, currently right now, just slowing down the degradation. So what do I use? A live rosin gummy, and I make a tea. So eat the friggin' gummy right there. Yum, 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 yum. Maybe eat 1, 2, 3, whatever makes you happy. Don't leave the house. Don't leave the house if you're going to do this. Stay home, watch cartoons. And if you don't normally watch cartoons, this is probably a good day to watch cartoons. So eat 3 gummies. I'm not going to tell you how many I eat. I'm ridiculous. But I'm just ridiculous because I have a high tolerance. And I say that, and then sometimes I'm much more ridiculous than I think I am. So, in that, eat the live rosin gummies, pectin. Pectin breaks down into the bloodstream super quick. Now, make a tea. You're going to take raw cannabis. You're going to take enough, like 2 joints, 2 good, decent joints. One of my badoinka doinks. So enough weed to fit into one of my long badoinka doinks. All right? Okay. Badoinka joinks. Badoinka joink. A badoinka joink. I really like that. Okay. A badoinka joink. Wait, a badoinka joint. A badoinka joint. Just orange smoking badoinka joints. So enough weed to fit into one of those. Just break it up. Maybe some fresh ginger. That'll be really nice. A loose leaf tea blend with hibiscus and elderberry and whatever else is blended in there, like rose hip tip, whatever it is. A tip, a hip, a hip, tip, tip. So enough for like 2 teas. Put it all together in one of those net pots, right? A little ball, like a little ball that you can shove everything into and shove it and close it and lock it and good. And then you want to get the water screaming. The kettle that you put water in to pour into your tea. Wow, I am good today. So as soon as it screams, take it off the heat and let it sit for like 3 minutes. I should have explained that in the video and I didn't. I was trying to keep things short and sweet, but let it sit for like 3 minutes. Normally people are going to, by the time they get it over their tea, I'm not too worried about it going over 250 degrees, but I'm trying to keep the heat as close to 250 degrees and below. Because at 250, cannabis starts to decarboxylate. At 250, cannabis starts to change. Oh, tell me that's not exciting. That's what it starts becoming from CBGA. In her acidic form, at a low enough heat, she can start to change now into THC A, CBD A, because their acidics have not burned off yet. And now they are most beneficial for the body, attaching directly onto those transmitters. Oh, amazing. Sorry. I get excited. No, I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Whatever. That's the thing. People should be excited again about medicine and about healing themselves. If I'm the only one excited about it, I'm the only one excited. There you go. So, CBGA as a tea. Something must have flown by. CBGA as a tea, you take a couple of live rosin, pectin, THCV, heavy gummies. It's terrible for me, but very tasty. So, you do those things together. You drink the tea. Well, first you steep it. Now, you're going to take all that shit, put it inside a bowl, maybe get some fresh honey for flavor, for taste, for texture, put it in the cup. So when you pour the tea and you steep it, the honey breaks down, and you're going to steep the tea, keep it rocking and rolling. Don't touch it. Don't just get lots of smells. It'll clear up your sinuses. It'll be amazing. Just steep for until it's cool enough to drink. But I say 6 minutes. Some people like 5 minutes. What are you, crazy? 4 minutes. What are you doing with your tea? You want to steep it as long as you can. You want to be able to get those oils out of the cannabis and the oils out of the ginger. Oh, maybe if you're a person who likes turmeric, get some turmeric in there. A little turmeric as well is not going to hurt anything. Actually, will only help. Turmeric is amazing. Cinnamon is also amazing for the body and the bloodstream. And if you like things a little bit spicy in your tea, cayenne. I know, I know, I know. It's a little controversial to have a spicy tea, but spicy tea is nice. Yeah. And what is cayenne for? Oh my gosh, what it does for your blood. Wow. I mean, just electrifies your body. So there's things that we can do holistically and naturally, not just cannabis. I like to incorporate cannabis into a lot of things I do because I want an excuse to smoke more cannabis. And I'm going to eat it raw, and I'm going to make a tea. So right there, Parkinson's and cannabis, how is it going to heal? How is it going to help? Watch the video. Let me know what you think. I need to come out with more information on it. And I do have a paper, but I'm not done. That's another thing. But maybe the website first, maybe the paper. But again, it's just through observation and through very close-knit tests. It's maybe we'll take some time with that paper. Let's just see how the video goes over and what opinions anybody I know has that's looking at the combination of CBGA and THCV. And maybe now things like that can be researched. Again, we still have a lot of research restrictions against cannabis here in the United States. But I believe there are certain laws and measures that are currently in place or in the works to allow for new research and new study. Even right now, we haven't rescheduled. I heard something. Everything's probably fine. We're getting ready for some crazy weather again. We're getting ready for another hurricane. Who would have thought? We just left one. One just left. Lots of damage. And now there's another hurricane on the way. So tomorrow I'm going to be back out getting water again and cannabis. Water and cannabis. That's it. That's like my only supplies I think that I need right now. That's terrible. No, I'm getting more things. Maybe some nice salmon. Maybe some meat for the grill because if the power goes out, you're gonna need the barbecue. I don't know, but it won't go out because I don't have a generator. I'm prepared this time. I am so ready. There's gonna be there's no food. We have ducks. No food. There's eggs. There we go. And that's what I love about the farm. And they're like, well, there's no TV. There's chores. Let's go do some chores. And I know my kids are going to be so excited about doing all these chores on the land. I'm going to use it as an excuse to ride around on the lawnmower. That's the lawnmower. For those of you that don't watch the show, it's the lawnmower. Just my daughter. She named it the lawnmower. So that's it. That's a little bit of an authentic look into me, into my life, into what's happening, into the happenings, this crazy flipping weekend. Wow. I never knew this weekend would be such an adventure. Long story and short story. Stand up for people. Sometimes people don't stand up for themselves. I love my kids so much. I do. And I've always taught them to speak their mind and stand up for themselves. And I almost blame myself for why they didn't. I mean, they wanted to keep their jobs so bad. They wanted to keep their jobs so bad to pay their bills and help around the house that they took the mental abuse and verbal abuse from their boss. Both of them. For so long. And they didn't tell me. They didn't tell me. Because they knew I'd be mad. They knew I'd be very mad. And am I mad? I'm mad at myself for allowing it to go on so long to them. I'm mad at myself that I just didn't know and I didn't see it. But of course, how can I see it? They have their own lives. They're big boys. I have my own life. I'm crazy busy all the time. But I shouldn't be busy enough not to notice when my kids need help. And that's what hurt me. And that's what hurt me and why I had to get justice for my son. Because he wanted to work so hard so he can contribute to the family. And so hard at his own peril. I can't have that. I can't. They're too good at people and too good at kids. So I'm not going to go back over the story, but it was horrendous. And I'm just saying that was this weekend. I still don't believe it. It was just actually today is Sunday. So right before I got to the show, I just finished with all this shit. We just got back from the hospital. Isn't that wild? And I think as I started the show, I did not notice that. Like I wasn't like, oh, hey, I just got back from the hospital. Huh? Instead, I'm talking about, wow, the craziness of this weekend. Like it was so long ago, but it was just happening and it's still happening. I'm still digesting and processing this big corporation and how far we had to go to get even just a little bit of justice for such a good, kind, hardworking person. I have to say this one has been an easier smoke than the last one. And this is the vegetable paper. Really love these. These are great. Anyways, old car smell, 31%. Wow. So, very gassy, cheesy. I just got to tell you, that's some good smelly shit. Okay. So anyways, that was it. That was the energy of this weekend. That was the energy of what's going on. An authentic look into the right now of Oren. This is it. This is my life. That's my weekend. It was coaching on the Saturday morning early, and chaos ensued on the field. Swords were drawn, and horses came out. No, that was a lot. That would have been amazing. I think that would have been amazing. No, that's it. A kerfuffle in understandings, a misunderstanding at best. I mean, that turned into a big pause of the game, but a lot of hurt feelings. And then, but let it go, let it go. And then Sunday, I taking my son to the emergency room and dealing with, and I know it's a Sunday and it's hard to get approvals and this and that. When somebody was hurt the day before, it was denied. So he could have gone to the hospital the day before, and I didn't know about it and its severity. I wish I did. I would have dropped everything. I wish I'd known. He's so then to have to go through chaos to have to get him treatment so that it's recorded and processed and so much. But hey, you did come at the right time because it has been a chaotic day. Um, wow. But here's the wild part. Now we get to shed the frustration, the anger, the the stress. We can shed it, let it go, take it, and put it on that imaginary table. Just kind of place it there. I showed up on the show fresh, fresh from the excitement, fresh from the excitement of the day. Mm. And a craving for nachos. I don't know what that is. All of a sudden, I have now a craving for nachos. Nachos. Stuffed nachos. I'm getting ridiculous. They need to be stuffed nachos on a bed of guacamole. Guacamole. Whatever. Oh, some fajitas would be great. Stop. What am I? I'm hungry all of a sudden. So I'm smoking an indica. That's why I'm hungry. See, I normally smoke sativas. I like sativas because of the way they get my body working, my mind working, and things like that. But today, I'm smoking. Hey, Tali's here. Hi, Tali. Welcome. So the wild thing is today I'm smoking an indica, and the indica, it's this is not heavy on me at all. I want to mention old car smell. So normally indicas get very heavy on me, and not just heavy. I mean, they really weigh down on me, right? Hey, let's get Tali in here. One sec. Let's see if we can do a. I can't remember how I did it last time, but boom, here we go. Did I do it? I feel like I did it. I feel like I did it. Did I do it? You do it. Here, I'm trying to get Tali in here. I'm gonna try it again. What did I do last? Oh, he's in. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Tali, welcome to the show. Now, for those of you that can't see Tal, he's over here on the Insta Cha-Cha, and he's coming to us from, where are you coming from?
One of the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. But we just say Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago. Chicago's everywhere. Chicago, Illinois is, and there's no noise in Illinois.
Yeah. No
Just
noise.
no noise. Just noise. Just noise. A lot of noise. And so how are you? Listen, before we go anywhere, I've been so worried about you. I remember you were going into surgery. I remember you were going to have some things done. Look, I've been sending vibes of positivity, hoping for the best. 'Cause I know you said one arm, we might salvage it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But so Tali was going in for surgery for his one of his testicles. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Not.
That was a long time ago. Torn bicep and a labrum tear.
That sounds terrible.
It is.
It's like it is. That's positivity right there. That's a good energy towards something.
Here we have my glass bong. I'm going to take a couple of cotton balls.
So he's showing his glass bong, and he's putting cotton balls in. It looks like a filter.
Correct. Then I take a nice big old bud, and
Now, do you smoke concentrates as well? Yes.
I do.
Now, do you do that for concentrates also?
I do.
And do you notice the big difference in it? Like, does it really catch a lot of?
Yes, so I'll show you the main difference in doing it that way versus not doing it that way. What happens, the harshness that you get from the smoke expanding in the lungs gets filtered through the cotton ball. Now, the reason that I did this was because long time ago when I was in junior high school, they did an experiment, a demonstration on why people should not smoke cigarettes.
I remember seeing something about this where they put it the cigarette and they like cigarette after cigarette after cigarette like a pack. And what a pack does.
Not even a pack. Listen, what they did was they took two little baby jars, and those two baby jars represented your lungs, and they filled the baby jars.
I think I remember this commercial. Yeah, I think I remember this.
Yeah, this was they did this at the school to show us the terribleness of smoking a cigarette. One cigarette.
I think I remember at school them coming out with this thing in a glass jar.
Jars, they had little holes drilled at the top and that was connected with two tubes, and those two tubes were connected to one tube that had a little pump, and they would put a cigarette in it.
This room got cloudy.
And those two white cotton balls at the end of the one cigarette were pitch black. And I was thinking to myself,
well, you know, that is wild. I remember seeing that. I can't hear you for some reason, but I do remember seeing that. And I remember that seeing those, I don't know why I can't hear you, but I do remember seeing those cotton balls in the experiment that he was just talking about. I remember those cotton balls going black. And I'm still wondering why I smoked cigarettes for so long after seeing something like that. That was wild. I'm just, oh, here we go. I think we got you coming back. I heard a trickle of a voice.
there we go.
Yes, there we go. I was like, very excited.
To show you a demonstration, as I'm going to light this, you're going to see the smoke come in from the bottom, get filtered through there, and the smoke that comes up here is much less harsh. So I don't cough as much, but I still get the high.
That's interesting. So he's taken cotton balls and he shoved it into his bong. And so he's taking a hit with flour. And so he's pulling this through the cotton balls. So the cotton balls aren't touching him. They're like this far away, down his bong. Still gets a good rip, good smoke coming out, a good big hit. So you just did like the whole bowl at one time. The whole bowl, one time, no cough. Now, wait, is it good? Wait. Is it good weed? Well, good weed shouldn't make you cough, damn it. I'm telling you. I mean, it will when you get down to the end of a joint, or it will if you've been smoking, or if, like, the room I'm in is smoggy, smog. I mean, it's like I'm in a cloud right now.
Or if the smoke is too hot, it can cause you to cough.
Exactly. That's true. That is true. And joints can do that sometimes. And so, okay, are you reducing a lot of the heat coming through the cotton balls?
Yes, the heat actually, now, what's funny about that is not only does the heat get reduced from the cotton balls, what they're actually, in essence, doing, they're filtering out all of the tar and all of the carcinogens that are in the weed.
Well, the carcinogens aren't there. We're putting them there. We're lighting it, and we're causing that reaction which makes the carcinogens, but also butane. Look, the fuel, you're using your lighter just now. And that fuel is being sucked directly into your cannabis, directly into your lungs. So this is great. I'm loving this with the
cotton balls actually do remove that butane taste. It reduces the harshness and the chemicalness of the burning. It cools the smoke ever so gently, where you can still feel the rip coming in, but you just don't have any harshness, and it quells the expansion of the smoke into the lungs. So the lungs, the smoke, it doesn't continue to expand as it gets into the lungs. It just remains there. It just sits like stagnant instead of expanding. And then what I do.
So wait. So it's reducing the expansion of the cannabis in the lungs.
Correct. It reduces
By how much? What kind of percentage would you say? That's
So for me, because I am an asthmatic and my lungs are very, they're pretty sensitive.
he's
So
an asthmatic and he's smoking from a bong flower. This is very interesting. But he's using the cotton balls. Again, I told you, he put how many? What, three?
yeah, two or three.
Regular bong. It's like, look, I have no bongs around me right now, but a regular bong, and he shoved two or three of them so that they don't fall down, kept them nice and thick, and put them about that far down his bong.
In the place where normally you put ice.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so in the bongs, all right, there's the difference because there are some bongs, old school, that go straight to the water.
Correct.
So with yours, it's all fancied, glass fancied. You can see it on the Insta Cha-Chas, but it's all glass and fancy and shit. And he's got the cotton balls shoved in there. So where the ice would go. Now we're okay, and I'm going to talk about the difference of having ice because ice, a lot of these heavier particles would attach themselves onto fresh ice.
And
Fresh.
And yes, and I was going to say what I like to also do on certain occasions, like if I'm feeling my lungs are really sensitive, like if I've done some athleticism, I mowed the lawn, I did something strenuous that causes my asthma to act up a little bit, I will then take crushed ice, put it inside the bong, along with the cotton.
So you'll put it first and then the cotton swab still on top of it.
Correct. And then I can literally fill the whole bowl with weed, and I can finish the entire bowl with one hit.
Like a good boy. Such a good boy. Such a good boy finishing the whole bowl.
Not cough, and still get off.
See, that's... And he's asthmatic. Keep in mind, he is asthmatic. And so smoking flower for an asthmatic is, look, it's difficult. You're going to cough, cough, cough a lot, and then you're going to hurt your lungs, and then you're going to hurt your breathing patterns. Holy shit. So he has to take every precaution that he can take when smoking flower. And look, he does concentrates as well, but he treats the concentrates the exact same way using that. Okay, so that's... No, I think this is huge. Look, if you're using the bong and you're finding that it's harsh on your lungs and your esophagus, try using the cotton swabs. The big giant cotton balls, big balls, 3 big balls in your hand, shove it right down, like right that far. Right in there. Just put them in there. Don't you be hesitating and shit. Just shove them balls right inside your bong hole. Your bong hole. Shove the balls inside your bong hole. All right, don't listen. But yes, that's actually kind of neat. And it's a filter. You're creating a filter. But look, that's a big hit for an asthmatic. He's like the undercover asthmatic. They bring him out to a cannabis fest. They're like, who's an asthmatic? And all these people are like, yeah, I am. All right, who can take the biggest hit? And he's over here, yeah, I'm an asthmatic.
Well, sometimes you cough a little.
No, you do. No, big hits like that, you're going to cough. But again, what he's doing with the cotton balls inside the bong. So he's putting them down again, like this far. Still sometimes. Now, you're using water? You have water in there, yeah?
Yeah, I have water.
How often do you change that out?
I change the water pretty much every 1 or 2 times.
All right, so after 1 or 2 bowls, you're going to just change it out.
And not only do I change it out, I clean it with...
Dun, dun, dun. What do you have?
Rubbing alcohol.
We use rubbing alcohol. Only the best of rubbing alcohol. Well, no, and look, alcohol takes off the tar. It takes off the crap. And it makes it COVID clean.
And not only COVID clean, but I'm going to tell you the reason I clean my bong regularly, like every 1 or 2 times.
You should clean your bong all the time. If you're shoving things in there like that, you better be cleaning it.
What else? Sometimes you get the trapped in there. So
yeah, sometimes you do get things trapped in there. No, it's okay. So when you're pulling out I'm sorry. I apologize. The more I smoke, And I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm not fucking sorry. I'm really not.
Let me pull it out and show you.
Pull it out and show me.
I'm going to pull it out and show you.
It's not me. It's not me. Look, go ahead.
This is what would have gone into my lungs. I don't know if you can get a clear look at that, but it's not white anymore.
No, wait. That's stop. Right there. So right there, I can see. Right there, I can see it's yellowed. There's multiple different colors showing multiple different elements that's picking up. Yeah, no, look at the color difference. So what you're not able to see, he's showing a clean cotton ball. So he's holding one of his balls in one hand, and he's holding the other ball in. I'm sorry. And he's holding the other ball in the other hand. So in doing that, one's dirty and one is clean.
Now, when I say I clean it regularly, you see it has a little bit of yellow in there. Got a little piss yellow.
Yeah, that's dirty. Look, I'm going to tell you what a dirty bowl is. When it gets to that color, it's dirty, or no? Is that an alcohol wipe?
It's an alcohol wipe.
Look how prepared he is. He's got an alcohol wipe to clean up.
The wipe, I shove it in the hole. I take my tweezer.
He takes out his tweezers after shoving it in the hole.
Well, you need a tweezer after you shove it in the hole.
No, you're right. You do. You're right. Because if it's in the hole, you want to get it back out again. You don't want to leave it in there. Wow. And how many uses is that from?
One.
That's one use. So if you can see what he's showing a very dirty cotton swab that just went into his actual bowl that held the flour. But of course, that's getting hit with that looks so much better. But do you know how much heat that's actually getting hit with at one time? Sometimes he will hit almost 1,000 to 2,000 degrees. 1,000 to 2,000 degrees, that little bowl will hit. That's how hot it gets. And so your flour is burning sometimes at temperatures like this.
You see how clean the water is.
And how many uses is that?
This is every single time I use it, I clean it.
Look, that should be a rule a lot of people go by. Every time you use it, you need to fucking clean it.
And I'll tell you the reason I do that.
I gotta stop. I'm being terrible.
Selfishly,
you're cleaning it?
Selfishly, I'm cleaning it because I am a self-proclaimed weed connoisseur.
No, and you know something? I appreciate that out of you, especially smoking flower. Because wait. Before you say anything, I want to mention Angie and her pipe. This is something I have to go therapy over. The way she doesn't clean the pipe. She refuses to clean the pipe. She leaves the pipe just as it is because she's like, well, it helped me quit smoking. So I want it to taste like cigarettes. No, you don't. Why are you doing this? Sorry, I was just pleading on the other channel. It's wild.
You should clean it for her, and I'll tell you why.
I should clean it for her.
And I'm going to tell you why. This is the reason I clean my bong every time
I try. She doesn't let me. She won't let me clean it. I'm telling you, she's like, no. I do it, and she do it. What she'll do? She'll pick at it a little bit, and
so here,
no alcohol, no cleansing.
Mother, may she rest in peace. She never felt that any of the food in her refrigerator was spoiled. So when we would
that generation never did.
When we would come, my brother and I would come over to her house. We would open up a jar of jelly, and inside the whole top of the jar of jelly would be filled with mold. We would want to throw it away.
Oh my God!
No, you just take a spoon, scrape off the top mold.
It's not touching underneath. It's okay.
The jelly at the bottom is still good.
We had the same grandmothers. I'm telling you.
So when you clean the bong every time.
It's just like, wait, how does the jelly come into this? Because now I want jelly. But no, go.
As a matter of fact, I was leading into that. I was leading in where the jelly.
Because I'm excited. Okay, all right. Shh, I'm quiet.
So here.
He's going to show you something. You deal in glasses. You think I can see anything?
So what I'm showing you here, this is a pre-rolled cone made by a company called Tasty Puff. Tasty Puff, and the paper, it's a king-size flavored cone, tastes like watermelon, like jelly.
That's what brings him back to jelly. He was reminiscing.
100% hemp pre-rolled cone.
So this made you feel like jelly, didn't it?
These joints that I smoke these cones, which has a filter. You see the filter at the bottom?
Oh, I see it.
It's very important.
Something boom.
To always have a filter. That's what protects your lungs.
Does it? Wait. Okay, wait. I want to hear why. Why does that protect? All right, because I don't look like these. I don't. Wait, where am I showing you? I don't roll with a filter. I don't. When I'm smoking a joint, I roll it and I do a pinch twist at the end to make sure no flour is coming out. And but talk to me. Why? What? Where in what? Because I eat raw weed. I love it. So if a little bit gets
No. It has nothing to do with getting in the mouth. I don't care about the filter. Is not so it doesn't get in the mouth.
So tell me. I want to hear.
The filter. What happens is when you put like these, you see through that paper, it's transparent, but at the end, you see there's a filter inside.
I see it. Yes.
So what is when I put this in my mouth and I'm sucking through that filter, the smoke that goes through the weed is being filtered through the weed in the joint. But then when it comes into that filter, before it comes into my lungs, that black stuff that you saw me take out with that alcohol prep pad, all that black stuff, that sticks onto the paper filter before the smoke.
See?
So when you're smoking, it's the same as cigarettes. If you take cigarettes and you roll them yourself and you smoke them unfiltered.
Well, you'd be getting, you're right, more of the cars. Well, no, you're right with it. Oh. But see, Well, I've always figured because it's cannabis, I don't need a filter. And it's natural. But keep in mind, what I'm not filtering is I'm not filtering the cannabis itself. I'm filtering the carcinogens that happen from combustion. I'm filtering the butane, and you're 100% right. I mean, I roll my own joints all the time, and even those smallest of filters do catch things. Yes.
And what filtering the same little black specks that get caught on the ice when you're smoking. You have an ice bong, and you look at that ice at the end, and the chips of ice have little tiny black bits of tar on them. Those little black bits of tar that are on the ice, or whatever the black stuff is that's on the ice, that same black stuff would normally go into your lungs, and that's what makes you cough and hack and
No, he's absolutely right. And I think my throat has even been harder lately because I haven't been vaping. So I've been going from one back to the other. I miss smoking flowers so much that I decided that's all I'm going to smoke.
So hang on a second. If you really, I also love to vape, but I don't like the regular vapes that are in the pre-cartridges that have the.
You showed me you were filling your own, but what are you?
So this is called.
Oh, is that Pax? Love Pax. Pax is beautiful. Is that the flower one or is that your concentrate? That's flower.
So I put the flower in there.
No, that's beautiful. Now, okay, how many hits or pulls do you get out of that before it tastes like popcorn?
So here's what I do. So that
and at what temperature are you putting that? He's got a PAX device that vaporizes flower, bud, and I'm funny about bud vaporizers because I'm funny about them because I've tried. Look, even the Fickles and I forgot the Fickles and Stickles, the Fickles and Stickles one. It's like a little square, but it's very nice.
Yes, but I'm going to tell you the trick here because a lot of people don't like to use these because it wastes the weed. Nobody wants to
Not necessarily. Not if you know you could use the weed later on. I mean, you're decarboxylating it, but
You're still right. It for cooking.
correct. I mean, but you're right. It does. It does waste the flower because you're getting a lot. But here's the thing: you're not wasting it. If you're looking at a bowl of cannabis and you're smoking a bowl, how much do you think you're wasting there by burning the weed?
The whole thing.
So when you're doing it in your vaporizer, so okay, talk. What temperatures? How are you doing? Are you keeping it loose? Are you grinding it down? Do you?
So here's what I do. I never fill it all the way to the top. I only put a light layer, like fill it maybe halfway.
Okay.
Now, I don't keep it perfectly loose, but I don't compact it hard. So I have this tool that I got at the Home Depot. They give it to you for free. When you buy a can of paint, this is to open the paint can. It also happens to be a bottle opener. You can open your bottles of beer with it, and you can open your cans of paint. But you notice how it has that little hook at the end. That's the hook that you take to open the can of the paint. Well, it just so happens to be that the size of the packs, it fits right in there perfectly, so you can just kind of push it down a little bit. You know, not hard, but you push it down a little bit.
Very good usage. Very good double usage of your tools. Let me tell you something.
So then you always set the packs at the medium level, not to the red, which is the hot, and not to the green, which is the cold, the orange, which is in the middle.
Okay.
Middle temperature. You put it in there, you turn it on, and you let it start to heat up. When you see that the light turns green and it's ready to hit, you take a few big, deep hits, but slowly. Couple big, nice puffs. Breathe in, breathe out. And then you turn it off. And now you've taken 2 or 3 hits, but there's a full bowl worth of weed in there. Now, if you would have just lit it up, that's done. You got to throw it away. Now, I've gotten 2 good hits. I've gotten a really nice high from that one bowl. Now, I saved the brown weed that's in there. It went in green, comes out brown, not black, because I don't keep cooking it over and over. I just take 1 or 2 hits, because if you keep going with it and you let that pack keep heating up, instead of being a brown color, it'll be black, and then you don't really want to use it because then it doesn't have a good flavor to it. So you just wait till a couple of hits, let it be brown, take it out, put it in a bag, save it.
Look, I'm just going to mention something. That's a lot of work. Oh, you know me. I'm exhausted. I'm like, oh, hey,
You're right. It is a lot
I got to
of
take it out. No, but actually, no. As much as I joke, I do it though. As much as I joke, I'm listening, but I'm.
As a connoisseur, anything that takes work at the day is work.
Anything that takes work is worth the work or worth the wait.
Correct. So what you then do is you save each one of these, which normally in a bowl you would have been throwing these away. So you just save them. You're not really doing anything. You're just saving them on the side. And next time you make a batch of brownies, when you have at least a good 1/4 ounce of this shake that was done, that you've gotten high with on the packs, take a 1/4 ounce of that used shake that you kept saving, mix that in with your brownies, add a little brown sugar
That's
to the
true.
brownies.
That's true. This is a good recipe.
And let me tell you, worth the work and worth the extra effort.
But it's delicious.
Oh, so good.
And it's, look, and when you decarboxylate cannabis, so he's using a PAX device that's vaporizing the flower. And so what he's done, he vaporizes it at a medium temperature, doesn't pack it all the way, leaves a little bit of room for airflow. That way things can flow properly throughout the cannabis. When he's done he gets 2 good hits. Now, quickly think about this with the high. Being comparable to lighting it from a bowl, or lighting it from a bong, or smoking it from a joint, and there's because a joint is a joint. A joint is a ritual. A joint is a moment. It's a thing. It's a woo. It's a vibe all its own. So, anyways, he's taking the weed out after he smokes. He takes it out. He saves it, and he makes brownies, and it is stupid delicious. And you get stupid high. Okay.
Stupid, and it's delicious. It's crazy delicious.
Especially adding the brown sugar that he was talking about. And so now you're caramelizing this
Yeah.
gorgeousness that you're breaking also down now into a brownie mix or oh, now I'm getting
So
excited.
I wanted to show you one more thing in regards to my cleaning techniques. You see the screen that's in there?
I do. It's a glass screen that sits at the bottom of his bowl so that particles, you know, it holds the ash and it holds the stuff a little bit more inside the bowl. Just explaining.
I've just thrown it away, and you can see how clean that hole is.
You've thrown it away. How often do you change out your little glass screens inside?
Well, not only do I use the glass one on the top, but I wanted to show you a little trick. I have this
Old school brass one, yeah.
I put it onto the top like this from underneath the bottom of it. I take this pencil and I put the screen in underneath from inside. So now, if you look real close, hang on, in here is.
So he's taking the bowl where the weed would normally go into, the glass bowl, and on the underside of it, he's turned it upside down, and he has a brass screen like we used to use in our old pipes that we used to shove into our pipes so the weed doesn't get into our mouth. But he's taking this brass screen and he shoves it from the underside of the pipe up so that now no particles are really going to be getting through other than what he's dealing with smoke. And so he goes through a lot of steps as an asthmatic in order to be able to use, you know, I think because I'm sure if he hadn't gone through these steps with the cotton balls on the inside and these glass, you know, and two different sets of screens to make sure particles aren't getting through. So and that it holds the ash and that he doesn't suck ash in or he's not getting ash contaminated water. So he's going through a lot of different steps, but because he's an asthmatic, you know, in order to still get that high and still get the benefits of those cannabinoids, really, he's just filtering out particles, particle filtration. It's what a great way to do it.
In addition to doing that,
and there's been a lot of steps.
It increases the flavor. The flavor gets increased dramatically.
Because you're knocking out so many things from it.
Correct.
I see what you got going on back there. Whoa, check you out. What's going on here? Wow. Wow, let me tell you what. So you've been practicing.
Yeah, you know, I got my FOID card, Fire Owner's ID registration, getting the Glock 44.
Okay. Check it out. Gangsta over here. Look, we practice on the land too. We shoot out into the pond occasionally just to make sure the gator stays back. Listen, you don't know. There's shit over there that you just kind of you don't want to upset all of it.
Absolutely. Listen, you never want to upset nature.
No. Because nature comes back at you. And so, except unless it's a gator, and I'm just telling you, wants to eat your dog, then you've got to be ready. I mean, my chihuahua was just like maybe this far away from his mouth. This far away from his mouth. An open mouth. And I'm like in La La Land, and I'm standing there, I turn around, and I see, I'm like, pulling the dog back.
Gator is very tasty.
It is. That is delicious. We got a bar right down the road in the main town. I'm like a mile away from town. It's crazy. I'm out here. It's.
Pull one out of your pond, shoot it, gut it, cook it up yourself.
You know, I wish it were that easy, but you know, it's easier to go to the bar right down here, and they probably pull it out of my pond, and they probably did it. So I go to them, and they do delicious gator. That's just how it is. I do love some gator. Gator is delicious. It's like a gamey chicken. It's like it's like a seafood chicken. It's chicken,
Yeah,
but right, but not
it's like a,
seafoody. But
it's not sea.
not seafoody though. It's like it's like chicken. It's like a more
But it's like a deer. It's like a deer version of chicken.
okay. Wait. That's good. That like so okay, like a venison version.
A little bit of a venison-y kind of
A venison version.
it's so like what venison is to meat, that's what this is to seafood.
Okay.
It's
No, I can see that.
yeah, it's not seafoody.
By the way, I just saw a comment over here on the. I just looked over. I apologize. On LinkedIn, I see, hey, back at the right time, and they back. So the rosin vapes from Goldflower are amazing. Yes, and you're right. I don't cough. See, you shouldn't cough. You shouldn't cough if something's clean and pure and it hasn't had chemicals in it extracting it. But yes, sorry, I didn't respond earlier. But yes, and you too.
Yes, absolutely.
But no, so what we've been talking about with Tali and the steps he goes through in his check you out. What is this over here?
A tree planted in Israel.
Listen, this is something.
In honor of my grandma.
Wow, I love that. I love that. See, that's life continuing on. That's you keeping the energy going, even though she's passed.
Yep.
So he's in Chicago, Illinois, and he's an asthmatic. We went through the steps on his pipe, all these different, and just to explain some of them. So the glass pipe itself, he cleans it very regularly, like after about 1 to 2 sessions, sometimes not even 2 sessions, even 1 session. He'll clean it, and in it, it has a glass pre-filter. So it's a little glass like jumping jack that goes into the center. And then on the underside, he has old school brass filter that we used to use in our wood pipes. I know some of you remember them wood pipes. Love them. Corn cob pipes. That was some old school shit. And so he's taking his little tweezers and then the little shovey wovies right into the underside of his pipe. So now all particulate matter that's hitting even the water of his bong will not. It's stopping right there, and it's going to hold directly in the ash. So that means less ash coming into his pipe, less things contaminating the water that is filtering out the particles. And then, so what he does that next, he takes cotton balls and shoves the cotton balls. Now, those pipes that have that little indentation so you can put ice inside of them, well, he puts cotton. 3 big balls of cotton, just shoves them right in. So now he's got a pre-filter, 3 pre-filters before it ever gets to him. But in that, he's increased the terpene flavor. He's increased his probably the cleanliness of his high. Because look, I mean, you're still burning off the cannabinoids at high heat, but you're still getting that THC, you're still getting that CBD, you're still getting that, that combination. But the tar, the butane, the combination is much less. So with the arm, so what happens? All right, so you told me about the things earlier. Are you getting another surgery? Are they looking at it? Are they?
So I got the surgery.
Okay.
And so what happened was it's called a slap tear on the labrum. Now, labrum is the muscle.
Damn labrum.
It connects the chest or breast muscle to the shoulder. So when you do the breaststroke in the pool, that's the muscle that goes to your breast.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then that same muscle, when it connects from under your armpit, it connects to your bicep. And that also tore in half. So they had to slice me under my armpit 6 inches. Conversation. LeBron and Brian are playing at the same time. LeBron James and his son are playing together for the first time.
Really?
First time ever.
LeBron James and his son are playing right now together for the first time ever in the NBA. That's huge.
The first time a father and son has played together in the NBA.
That's pretty big. I mean,
that's a lot.
I mean, everybody knew about it like it was going to happen tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was planned. It wasn't like it's a surprise. Like his son just showed up out there and he's like, I'm playing against you, Dad. I'm playing against you, man. It wasn't that dramatic, I don't think.
They're playing together.
But, on the same team?
Same team.
This tells you how much I know about fucking sports. But this would be monumental. This would be big. Listen, no. All right, so he got drafted under the same team his father's on.
Yeah, you're in Florida, right?
Yeah.
So this guy, his name is LeBron James.
No, I know who he is. I mean, he plays basketball.
He left Cleveland to come to Miami, you know? He played for Miami for a minute,
you know? Miami's far away. It's south. I go there a lot. I'm there like once a week, but the traffic, I don't know anything else. I go to Miami. All I know is traffic.
Come to Chicago. There's only 2 seasons in Chicago. Cold and construction.
Oh, is it still under construction? I lived in Chicago. How long ago? The construction still was going on. 35, 40 years ago, I was in Chicago. The construction was still happening. That's it. He says cold and construction are the 2 seasons in Chicago. And I remember a bad accident too. Yeah, when the roads iced over. I don't know. It was the station wagon.
Yeah, the big station wagon.
Yeah, my father said. I remember we were driving and he lost control and he started spinning. I think it was the last day he drove this thing.
He went to Texas. He was like, I'm not staying in the Chicago area that's 40 below zero. He's like, I'm going to Texas.
Chicago is tough. Look, people who live in Chicago, they have cojones. They have strength. They pull from a different kind of strength because wow, it gets cold. I mean, so cold. I remember as a kid how I was booted up and I'd come out like an Eskimo. I came out like an Eskimo, but it looked like I was in Alaska or Antarctica. I mean, you can't see 2 feet in front of you, the snow.
You want to know how cold it gets?
How cold does it get, Tali? How cold does it get?
It gets so cold, and this is the truth. It gets cold that the numbers that you're talking about are the same in Celsius as they are in Fahrenheit. When I tell somebody, oh my God, it's 45 degrees below zero. Now, zero refers to 32 degrees, which is freezing.
Correct. At freezing. So freezing is 0, which is 32 degrees.
Correct. Now, in Fahrenheit, when you get to 0, that's negative 10 Celsius.
Okay.
When you get to negative 10 Fahrenheit, you're at negative 18. So get to negative 30 Fahrenheit, it's negative 30 Celsius. When you get to negative 40 Fahrenheit, it's negative 40 Celsius. And then once you start getting further than that...
Wait, so how cold does it get below 0 for you guys?
Well, the coldest it ever got was a few years ago where the National Weather Survey said that they issued an extreme forecast warning if your skin was exposed for 30 seconds, you'd have frostbite. It got to negative 77 below 0.
Yo, shut up.
And we did an experiment which blew my kid's mind. We took hot boiling water from a tea kettle and threw it outside. And when we threw that out up in the air, boiling hot water up in the air, it vaporized and turned into ice instantly. Before that water hit the ground, it was solid ice.
Imagine a freeze that came at us that quickly. How many people would be prepared? That is wild. Negative 70 something degrees? Holy shit.
I'm going to tell you an experiment that I
remember Chicago cold. That's all I remember was cold about Chicago. It was cold.
No, it's not just cold. Cold is an understatement. Cold doesn't describe it. Cold is warm.
Cold is warm, right? And when it's cold, when it's warm for them, it's cold for everyone else. But for them, they're like, "This is lovely weather. What are you talking about? Take off my shirt. I'm going to be in shorts,
Yes.
barbecuing."
Yes. It's something else. And when it gets that cold, I mean, you have to have layers upon layers. Otherwise, that cold goes into your bones.
That's pretty wild stuff. I mean, that's. But I remember it. I don't remember -70.
Yes.
Holy
And I'll tell
hell!
you, I would love to live in Florida, but I
This
can't.
so you melt. You melt. Look, I'm.
Not just that. I don't mind the heat. The
You would.
bugs.
The
The
bugs.
bugs.
What bugs? What bugs?
Bugs.
There's no
You got
bugs.
eyes of your head that have wings.
So he'd rather freeze his cojones off than deal with a couple of gigantic cockroaches.
A second. Do you know how many alligators roam wild in the winter in Chicago?
Zero.
There's no
Zero.
alligators.
Zero.
There's not one.
Do you know how many alligators roam wild here in the grand state of Florida? So my job takes me all over Florida, and I do run into alligators occasionally. But in contained areas, not running free on the road, hitchhiking or anything like that.
Hang on a second. If I want, I can throw on a bathing suit and I can go jump into Lake Michigan and I can swim as long as I want, worry free that no sharks, no alligators,
No, there's some swamp monsters and shit that we need to talk about over there. Look, there's like Nessie. So don't you get too comfortable over there. Just gonna tell you, you've got your own.
Listen, Oak Street Beach is the safest beach in the entire world. Safest beach. Nothing happens at Oak Street Beach except lovely sights, beautiful women.
I'll tell you, that's a beautiful beach, and beautiful things. Yeah.
I love these virtual smoke sessions. They really, when I saw that you were live, I was like, I gotta jump on.
And see, that's what this is. He's coming to us from Chicago. I'm in Florida. He wants to be here. Minus the bugs. We don't get bugs. Don't get me wrong. We plant plants that keep bugs away. You've got to take a lot of extra steps to make sure your property doesn't have cockroaches and you're not fighting nutrients and rats. I mean, especially having a farm. The what?
Boa constrictors.
There are some snakes, and they're huge snakes. But our biggest issue, you ready for this? Nick just said it. Nick on the restream over here, where he's coming into us from Twitch, he said we're getting another storm, and we are. It's the storms. It's the storms. Look, Chicago, you get snowstorms, you get snowed in, you get shit so bad that it's frozen your vehicles, like in blocks of ice. But we get storms. I mean, storm season. Something the last couple of years have not been that bad. We're getting it now. I think we're in a cycle where it's coming back. And
so did you hear what happened in North Carolina?
Oh, I was staying right outside of Asheville for a period of time. And so I know all those bridges that got washed away. The mud from the silt, from the landslides, the silt from the release of the dams. So the dams wouldn't break. They released insane amounts of silt. So this is mud, and this mud covered the towns. Like,
they said that the water that was coming down the mountain, if you took the water that went over Niagara Falls and multiplied it by 100, that's how much water was coming down the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Wow. I've been there, and I know what and I've seen the pictures and how devastating the damage that Hurricane Helene had done, where it basically increased the rainfall from the mountains by 3 to 4 inches, and that is what overwhelmed everything.
More than that, it almost overwhelmed it it was almost, by the end of the storm, it was over 8 to 10 inches, which blew over all of the dams, and they got like some of the dams broke.
Yeah, I did see some of that.
And there was was towns, literally towns, the whole town
wiped away.
gone.
Yeah. No, and now there's another storm coming. So it's not so much the intensity of the storm. It's the storm surge initially, but it's the rain that's bringing along with it and how slow the storm moves. So these storms are building up like Katrina did. They're building up that speed and they're just sitting there and dumping so much rain.
Yeah, hundreds of miles an hour winds, just dumping millions and millions of gallons. I
And
mean,
it floods areas everywhere. I right now am sending out my hopes and prayers and my positive vibes out to St. Petersburg and Tampa area, Clearwater, because that's where it's directly coming in. Um, I'm actually driving out there tomorrow morning. So I'm driving tomorrow. I'm taking my son to the doctor, and then I'm leaving for Tampa and St. Pete to make sure everybody is okay and quickly, see any doctors that are still working, tell them to get the hell out of there, because it's getting. I think Wednesday they hit. I think Wednesday it hits. So.
Do you hunker down? Do you have like a shelter?
Yeah, we watch movies. We bring out a charcuterie board of beautiful meats and cheeses, and I get out some nice. I get out the mead.
We get tornadoes every once in a while. There's like 90, 150-mile-an-hour winds that rips through the towns and tears off the buildings.
The winds we get from the hurricanes, we'll get like, I think there were sustained winds at 80 miles an hour, if not more during this last one. And we've cut down most of the trees around the house. And that to me is my biggest fear, is a tree coming down and taking us out. But this last one, no. This last one, so Zavi came to sleep with me in bed, and she's coming in very close because every time we got hit with wind, it went. So we felt it like lifting the house, and I mean, we'd look at each other, put the blanket over, we're waiting for the next one. And I'm like, it's okay. She's like, that's a lot of wind. I'm like, I know, but don't worry, the house is good. The house is fine. That's how much wind was hitting us. So much so that you could feel it sucking up the energy and the wind out of the house itself, and then just pulling us in and pulling us out. And that went on for a couple of hours. That was, but we didn't lose power. And oh yeah. Well, I went and bought, okay, I told the story of the generator. I went and bought a generator the day of that storm. I procrastinated. So Hurricane Helene, I went out and I was looking at different ones, and a couple deals fell through the day before. And I was like, oh. And Angie's like, we need a generator. I'm like, I know we need a generator. I'm going to get the generator. I got this. So I got up early, and I'm like, we're all going, and we're getting a generator. Now we're going to love it. Yes. And everybody was just as enthusiastic as I was. So,
how expensive of a generator did you get?
Well, okay, so I saw this deal in the Facebook marketplacey, and I was like, okay. I responded. They said we're a pawn shop. I'm like, whatever. It's gonna it's me a piece of shit. Anything in a pawn shop. So, but I got there because it was last minute, end of the day. My other deals didn't fall through properly, so we all went to the pawn shop. Pulled this unit out. It was sitting in the back, tons of shit on top of it. I mean, it was beat up. It was dirty. It was oil. It was dry. And you're like, what the hell is this thing? Pulls it out. It's a Honda generator, or made by Honda. And it's an old blue generator that's like 9,000 watts of power. And of starting, like of running, of initial, like big power. And then it's running probably at like anywhere between 79 and 8,500, I would say, or probably, but it's gasoline. I was looking originally for a propane and a gas, but this thing, it's nostalgic. So we pulled it out and couldn't get it started. And the gas has been sitting in there for so long. So we did a few things and we checked. I mean, I messed with it for like, I don't know, 30 minutes. I got it started. And I was like, so what I did, I played my sales game. I turned to the pawn shop lady and I was like, okay, you see how long it took me to start this? In the event of an emergency, do you know how much I'm going to have to go through in order to get this thing started? What I'm going to have to do today to clean it? And it may not even work. We're talking about, It might not even work. What I'm dealing now with stress of this thing.
Get off your hands.
So they had it listed for, and I didn't see the original price. It was like $798, and I was like, it's a good generator, but it's an old school generator, not like these cheap shitty ones now. This is like when they used to make a generator. A generator is a generator. This is when you run forever. So I'm like, you see how dirty this thing is? You see there's oil? Look, what is that? Is that a drip? That's a drip. You see the drip, drip, drip? That's like a drip. That's like leaking from like a gasket, I'm sure. That's going to be probably expensive. So they should have paid me to take it. Listen, I was like, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to do you a favor. So I think they had it listed for like 500, and I think I got it for 350. And I was, and I felt good about it. Got it home. I ran the generator. It ran. It was great. The power didn't go out. And then the next day, I'm like, okay, I got to run this thing for a while. Get the bad gas out of it. Get this thing going. The quail cage is to the left of it by 4 feet. And I had the thing pointing out the other direction. But I let it run. Went inside the house.
Quail's that?
Only 4.
Damn! Well, you probably ate real well that night.
So, no, we can't eat those. And because they have to be put to rest properly with a proper ceremony and a dance. A dancey dance, a ceremony. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And, oh, no. And the fart, and deep enough so the dogs are not allowed to get to them. So.
Right. Or the crocodiles.
Oh, no, the crocodiles only want things that are living. Or that are really stinky. Living or really stinky.
No, I promise if you take a raw chicken that's dead.
Stinky, right. No, they want stinky. No, they want to mess with live things and eat stinky raw things.
Right,
so,
yes.
And marshmallows. They love marshmallows. White is not a good color in the swamp.
Let's say you haven't washed your feet in a few days. That's a nice little tasty snack.
I wouldn't be walking around in the swamp or anything. That's the last place I'm going to be visiting. I'm going nowhere near the swamp. No, the swamp, that's its own place.
Of course. Listen, I'm gonna sign off.
I think I'm gonna sign off too. Thank you for coming, Tali. You're amazing. Hey, I hope you're feeling better. I hope you continue to feel better and healing is happening.
Yeah, it's going well. I have to still wear the thing for another few weeks,
but okay. Wear it. Yeah. Wear it and in good health. L'chaim to you, in good health. Send kisses to everybody. Hugs. Everything.
Always good to see you.
Hey, it's always good to see you. You be well. Hey, if you're not following him, he does glasses, sunglasses and eyeglasses. Only the best. Only the designer. And so how do they reach you again?
Glasses Limited in Chicago, Gold Coast.
Boom. Boom. So that's it. Hey, you're awesome. You're awesome. I'll see you. Peace.
Later.
And everybody, thank you for joining us tonight on Highly Motivated, our Sunday smoke sesh. You never know who's going to join. You never know what kind of energy it's going to be. And yes, we do have another storm coming. So get ready for it. Be careful. Go get some water tomorrow. Don't procrastinate. Make sure you have a generator and extension cables. Make sure you have everything prepared before anything happens. And that way, if nothing happens, nothing happens. And that's a mazal. That's a good thing. That's good luck. And, so make sure water's number one. And also if you have a bathtub, fill your bathtub with water. Why? You can use it to flush your toilet. Just, or clean up really quickly and have, a little bit of water off to the side so that you can maybe wash hair or anyways, it's just good to be prepared, especially with a storm coming. You don't know how long power can be out. So make sure you have dry provisions. So not just, canned items are great, and anything that doesn't require a microwave or because you could do everything on a grill. So be ready for the storm. And I'm sending my love out to everyone and my energy and my good vibes. And you take them and you send out good vibes. Even though we have a storm coming, we're strong, we're powerful, we're amazing. We've got this. Stand up for each other, help each other, be the energy, be the kindness that others need, be the forward momentum that other people need, be the protectors for those who need to be protected, stand up for those who need to be stood up for. If you don't, who's going to do it? And don't be aggressive in your nature, but be out there and show your love, show your attention to people, show your power as a strong, intelligent individual. And also for the storm, be flipping careful, be ready, have an escape plan ready to go. That's it. Find high ground, have an escape plan, stay away from falling trees. Shit's gonna get crazy, lots of flooding. We'll talk again on Wednesday when the storm is hitting us. So I will be back on Wednesday at 8 o'clock while the storm is hitting us. I might not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how bad the storm is. We'll see what's happening. But Wednesday is when it's supposed to be hitting us, I think, the worst, or when it's hitting me ish. Wednesday.